Hi, I'm John Valentino, president of John & Bob's Corporation. Throughout my 35 years in the landscape and gardening industry, I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out ways of improving soil because that's really the key to successful gardening. And we've developed a system that I hope is simple for consumers to use. During those 35 years, unfortunately, I don't think consumers choices have been improved any. The choices are complicated ones. There's lots of confusion in the industry, and I think home gardeners aren't quite sure what to do. Some home gardeners talk to their friends and they're told to use Epsom salts or beer for mysterious reasons, or if you go to a nursery, manufacturers have all kinds of ploys where they have products for every single crop you grow around your house. You know, something for your lawn, something for your tomatoes, something for your roses, something for your fruit trees. And what we're trying to do is take the mystery, take the ploys out of it, make a very simple system that's easy to understand. And the simple part of gardening that I have been focused on for 35 years is that the way to improve soil in every single way is with microbiological life. Those little guys in the soil in the form of beneficial bacteria, fungi, protozoa, good nematodes are magical. That's why good compost is so good for soil. Compost changes soil, and what we've tried to do is isolate the good parts of compost into very convenient products that you can use. So the fact is that if you had a heavy clay soil and you wanted to change it, the simple way to do it, get beyond all the hype and all the magical products, is with microbial life in the soil. Those little guys will change soil faster and more permanently than any other method there is. And if you want to think about growing roses and lawn and fruit trees that don't have pests and diseases, you don't have fungus in your lawn, you don't have mildew on your roses, you don't have aphid on any of your plants, again, the answer is in the miracle of life in the soil, because microbiological life in the soil does things and produces plant hormones that allow plants to resist and defeat every pest and disease that's known. Nature has a mechanism, and nature's mechanism is life in the soil. If you have fungus on your turf, a traditional way to get rid of it is to spray it with a fungicide. Those traditional ways are counterproductive because they damage nature's mechanism for making sure you don't get fungus in the future. So if you use a fungicide on your fungus in your turf, you not only kill bad fungi, but you kill good fungi. And so you pretty much guarantee that every year you'll be on a treadmill of continuing to have fungus. That same thinking applies to every gardening problem there is, bad nematodes, aphid. And so what we've done is we've come up with a system that is focused on microbiological life in the soil, because it's microbiological life that's the key to making sure you won't have pest and disease, and the key to making sure you have soil that you can dig in and it won't be hard. You'll have a good exchange of air and water. And so that system is represented by this little leaf that has 4 parts. Each of the part fits together and shows a little puzzle, and it shows that all of those products work together. They all do slightly different things, and they all are either microbes, food for microbes, or attractants for microbes. And so in one way or the other, we want to make your soil alive, and we want to make it alive with beneficial bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and nematodes. Our first product that we started selling 5 years ago is called Optimize. And Optimize comes in several sizes, and as with all the products, it's concentrated. So this little bag does 1,000 square feet. So you see the concept where we're taking beneficial parts of compost, but instead of having to have big piles of compost, you can do it with a little bag that you can pick up easily, put in the trunk of your car. And this is concentrated humus with some calcium and iron. And it does a number of things, including feeding microbes. It's food for fungi. It collects, or the gardening term is it chelates minerals that bacteria like to eat right around the root zones of plants. And it also coats all soil particles so that we have a good exchange of air and water in the soil. Those are the three things basically that concentrated organic matter does. Now, to make sure that we include the life part of our system, we introduced in 2009 three other products that work towards that goal. The Penetrate Liquid Biotiller is a liquid product with two parts, and it has beneficial bacteria in it. And the beneficial bacteria in soil is the lowest form of life in soil, very similar to plankton in the ocean. So plankton in the ocean leads to more complex life. Bacteria in the soil will lead to more complex life. And so we've separated the containers because with Penetrate Liquid Biotiller, the bacteria is one, and then the food for the bacteria in the form of kelp and saponin and molasses is in the other. We don't want these to go together until it's in your soil. And in your soil, they'll do magical things and start this process of building complex life in your soil. So it's very easy to spray on. The bacteria, the food for the bacteria, one of the parts is saponin, which is a soil penetrant. So what we're doing with the saponin is we're immediately softening the soil and allowing you to dig in the soil. And then with the bacteria, that's a long-term solution to heavy, lifeless soil. So within 24 hours, you get some benefit from the saponin, which is a soil penetrant, and over the course of 6 months to a year, you get benefit from the bacteria. Now, we don't want just bacteria in soil because, as I said, the key to healthy soil, the key to making sure your plants don't get eaten by pests or damaged by diseases is complex microbiological life. You want a representation of all the microbes. So the next product that we introduced is Maximize, which has higher life forms that can feed on the bacteria presented in the Penetrate. So the higher life forms are fungi, more beneficial aerobic bacteria, and protozoa. And we mixed with that fungi food for microbes and food in the form of minerals. And the product is simply called Microbes and Minerals Maximize. And minerals are food for microbes of all types. Then we also mixed in there the most famous and well-known of all the beneficial fungi, which is mycorrhiza. So the product is everything that you need for healthy soil. Microbes in the form, all the higher life forms, including bacteria, minerals, which is food for the microbes, and the most well-known and beneficial of all the microbes, mycorrhiza, which lives on roots of plants and allows plants to prosper and thrive, is all in Maximize, Microbes and Minerals. Then, to make sure that everything is well nourished, we included in the system, in the four-part system, the best fertilizer I've ever used. It's an organic fertilizer that has a lot of the benefits of the reasons that some people use synthetic fertilizer, but the problem with synthetic fertilizer is every time it's used, it damages the magic of life in the soil. It damages bacteria and fungi and protozoa. So you're damaging the soil every time you fertilize. Even though the plants love nutrients provided by synthetic fertilizer, the soil doesn't like it. And you diminish your ability to resist all these pests and diseases, because nature's only way of making sure you don't get pests and diseases is with life in the soil. So when you use synthetic fertilizer, you damage that life in the soil. The neat thing about this Nourish Biosol is it not only feeds plants as effectively as any synthetic fertilizer, but it builds the soil at the same time, and it's food for microbes. And if you consider the source of it, you can understand why that is. Beneficial fungi and bacteria are cultured in the antibiotic industry, and when they bloom, they produce mycelium, which is the bloom of that beneficial fungi and bacteria. They don't need the bloom, so they cut it off and they dry it. This is dried mycelium with high nitrogen, high phosphorus, high potassium, natural content. And if you think about that, that is food for microorganisms. So you've got a product that's magical in many ways. Not only feeds plants effectively, but it feeds the soil and allows us to build microbial life in the soil, the point of the whole system. Another neat thing about the product is if you look at the size of it, it's the same size as most synthetic fertilizers. So you can apply it with the same Whirlybird spreader that you've always used. And the rate is incredible. Most organic fertilizers are 20 or 30 pounds per thousand. Nourish Biosol is 6 pounds per thousand, the same as most synthetic fertilizers, the same as a 16, triple 16 or a triple 15. So it's convenient, it's easy to use, it feeds soil and it feeds plants at the same time. So that's the concept of the system. Rather than being mysterious or using some special ploy, it's very direct. What we're doing is empowering nature, building microbiological life in the soil, which is the key to healthy soil and healthy plants. The whole idea is if you feed it in this way, all of these products we recommend applying every 6 months. They take, say, over 1,000 square feet. They take about 15 minutes to apply, so that's a half an hour over the course of a year. And for a half an hour and say in 1,000 square feet, say $100, you can address the most important issue in gardening, which is the health of the soil. So the system is very comprehensive. As I said, you only apply every 6 months. It's efficient, it's quick, it doesn't take a lot of time, it's convenient, it's accessible. You can get them in small packages. So it's something that should be convenient for you to do. And at this every 6 month interval, you're not only addressing the fertility needs of your plants, but you're addressing the pest and disease needs of all parts of your garden: vegetables, fruit, ornamental trees, roses, tomatoes, everything. So it's a comprehensive system that's convenient, it's easy to use, and it focuses on one thing, and that's building life in the soil, the most important thing about soil, and the thing that can pretty much solve every problem there is. If you have heavy soil, if you have sandy soil, if you have alkaline soil, if you have acid soil, the answer to all of those problems is microbiological life. That's why most nurserymen will recommend that you use organic matter to improve soil, or a good quality compost. We're trying to make it more convenient for you rather than have to use compost. The other thing I found when I looked into retail garden centers, as a consumer, if you go into a garden center and say, I have terrible soil, I need to change it, you'll find that the options presented at garden centers are very limited. Most garden centers will say something like, well, we have gypsum. And using gypsum to change your soil is like using a match to pop your popcorn. It'll work, but it'll take about 100 years. The key is if you can combine gypsum with microbes, beneficial fungi, bacteria, nematodes, protozoa, that you can change that to more of a 2 or 3 month process, at least be able to see some benefit rather than a 100-year process. And that same answer persists in all types of garden problems. That's not only the way you change a heavy clay soil, but that's the way you address a chronic disease problem or a chronic pest problem. Almost every pest and disease problem can be mitigated with healthy, lively soil, complex life in the soil. So that's the concept of John and Bob's Grow Green system. I thank you for being interested in it, and all the products are easily purchased on our website, and we welcome your interaction. You can go to the website and send a message to me through our Contact Us mechanism, and we appreciate your support. Thank you very much.